You don't even drink coffee.
Oh yeah, like a milkshake or.
Oh, you don't milkshake. Oh.
You don't want to say a milkshake, mate.
This includes venues as well, so when you go out, get that rig out before you get kicked out. That's something I live by.
Because I know we'd go to horse camps and you'd meet everyone, and then everyone you want to keep in touch with. You'd get on MSN, and then...
You want to readdress that?
What?
What kind of camps are you going on?
Anyway, week of a lifetime. It was absolutely massive. I was all over the place, driving hours
Didn't
and
you
hours
just
a
do
day.
your weekly update?
Well, that was not it. How did you Oh, it's that time of year again, is it? Just while Dos sorts that out, I'm going to give you a bit of a different perspective on the phone here. We've got my neighbours, the fireys. We've got the fireys, we've got the paramedics on the other side of that, and I think the SES just pulled up. Looks like they're going to be shooting a joint video while we're shooting this podcast. So there could be some lights and siren action going off.
Could be a bit going on.
And Paulie's going to do his best to knock the camera down from where it's sitting, which would be good as well.
We got road trains passing every
There you go. A triple decker. We got, ooh, triple road train. All right. Enough of that. Let's cut to the real stuff. Dos. Something's different about this pod.
Something's a bit different.
Bit different.
Yeah, I think a little bit closer than normal. A little bit closer indeed.
Yeah, but pretty far from home, aren't you?
A little bit. I got lost. I booked a ticket to Bali, and they took me to Longreach. So, yeah, I've ended up here. No, it was a surprise.
Very surprising.
Yeah, I flew up, saw one of the meme guests, Jed Fay, for a few days, and I had to hide in Townsville for a few days, so I couldn't post anything. I had to pretend I was still in Melbourne, and then we drove from Townsville to Longreach, and rocked up on Friday night. Yeah, gave the young Pross a bit of a surprise.
I genuinely thought I was hallucinating. Genuinely. Actually, no joke. Weird. One of the weirdest feelings I've ever had. I had one, not even a full glass of champagne. I was on my first glass of champagne. So next thing I know, I look down, look up, and bloody Jed and Dos are standing there. And I was totally floored because for Jed, he's a new father, as you mentioned on an episode. I don't know if this is the last one or the one before.
Very fresh.
And also he's got, he's a second year Sparky, so he's pretty busy there too. And just generally, Dos, I didn't think you'd ever make it out this far. I just didn't believe it could be him. So yeah, huge surprise, great surprise. Surprises. We need to do an episode, how to throw a good surprise, because
that's very true.
I'm pretty critical of surprises, actually. This worked out really well, but there was times where I was making plans to go to Mount Isa for the week or maybe Cairns for the week, and Danny was like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. And I'm like, oh, well, something's up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought for it to be a good surprise, it would have to be you and Jed.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone else listening.
Everyone listening.
Would have cared. But I still, I just didn't see it working. But anyway, here we are in the flesh at my new place at Molten House DIY on Instagram. It's the new channel. You can follow the renovation process
Bit of
there.
self-promotion already.
People want to know. It's the first thing they notice. And yeah, we're here in the flesh. Dos came and he went to the Flyers ball. In fact, Dos, you could probably explain a bit more just while we rattle off on this big weekly update. Tell you what, you've run the gauntlet of Longreach experiences.
Yeah, I've actually been busy at it. It felt like Melbourne, where there's something on every single day.
Yeah.
Friday night was a poker night. Saturday night, Flyers ball. Sunday night, that was a bit more chill. We're still going away party.
Yeah, it was.
And then Monday, Auskick. That was a bit wholesome.
Yeah.
To show the country folk how to kick the ball.
Yeah, he had a reputation to uphold as a Victorian as well, so those kids were flying, mate. Do not argue.
That was a few stiff arms.
Yeah. One kid legit ran at him, and I think they were getting desperate. We're doing coaches versus kids.
Yeah.
And one kid just charged at him and must have bounced 10 metres off him. It was hilarious.
I felt so. It was the cleanest hit. Just bounced straight off his chest. I was like, oh, man.
He got back up. These kids were desperate. They wanted to win.
They wanted
genuinely.
Yeah. So, it's been pretty chockers.
Yeah.
Definitely. And even on the way up, I felt I got a real country experience because we got a flat tyre and our driver, Jed, didn't want to change it. So I was like, I got this. So I don't even have a car. So he was a bit ambitious.
He didn't want to change it?
He was like, nah, you can do it.
Wow.
I was like, all right.
Okay.
And I've had a car fall off a jack before when I was changing the tyre. So I was like, all right, bro, if you want, like. But I guess because of that experience, I was a bit more OCD about it.
Good.
So I made sure everything was right, changed it off, ripped the tire off from a beautiful white singlet from, from YD or something. Nice. And just covered in rubber. I was like, oh, man, straight into it. But yeah, that was nice. And now I got my tan back. And yeah, I've learned not to be politically correct, which is, good to get that back.
Anything goes, mate. Anything goes.
goes.
Yeah. No, it's definitely starting to cook up a bit. So we'll jump into the pod today. That was our weekly update, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty updated. And today's topic is a fun one, definitely.
Very close to my heart.
An Australian public holiday, essentially. It's a sickie. It's a classic. It's a staple of the working class.
Yeah. Now I've got a good relationship with the Sickie. I've been a big time promoter. I was one of the OG influencers of a Sickie, I would say. I'd go as far back. I was pulling Sickies when I was casual and not even getting paid for it. Yeah, it's just, like you said, the Aussie public holiday. I do like that. I haven't heard that before. So
came off that on the spot, mate.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
TM, trademarked road guide. Rogers can use it. It's fair cop.
Yeah, Rogers are allowed to use that one. So I've certainly pulled plenty in my time, and I've got different ways of pulling them and for different reasons. And so I think I've got plenty to contribute. And I'll probably start straight away with you don't pull a sickie when you are sick, because that's just a waste of your annual sick leave. So you want to go
be sick on your boss's time.
Yeah, exactly. And it supports as well. It supports the argument too that when you do pull a sickie, it's like, oh wow, he must have been sick because he came in the other week and he just broke his leg or something. Like you still rocked up. So I think it's about setting that precedent of going to work sick, and then when you do pull a sickie, there's less questions asked.
Wow. I would like to say, and it segues on perfectly from that, but before that, the following thoughts, views, and opinions are no reflection of me or of my standing with my employer. This is just general advice, not to be taken seriously. It's of a general nature.
Yeah, it's a general.
And we would never do this. But we've got mates. Well, I speak for myself.
I'm that mate.
So you mentioned there that you're laying the foundations really by going into work sick or with a broken leg. They go, oh yeah, he's sick. He must be. He comes in no matter what. The laying the foundations is a really important thing for step 2. One tip, tried and true, tried and tested, is to actually come to work. Let's say you come to work and you're feeling fine. Halfway through the day, maybe even a little bit earlier. That's when you can start laying the foundation. Oh, not feeling too well. Oh, I've got a bit of temperature. I might just go and get some Panadol, try to soldier through it a little bit. And then, when you take maybe the rest of the afternoon off, you get sent home because you're not feeling too well, looking too well, which counts as a half a sickie, which is a good step. Yeah. The next day, when you pull a full sickie, it's kind of like, we saw him. He was not looking good. He or she was looking a little bit shabby. Worse for wear, so totally fine. Also, if you do show up to work and you are feeling a little bit sick, and you get sent home, it's guilt-free. Basically, your sickie is totally, approved straight off the bat, so you don't have to spend the day guilty, which is something that people can feel. They can feel like, oh, I see what the squad's going through, or it's a busy day. I wish I could have been there to help, or I should have been there to help. But yeah, getting through the guilt, laying the foundation, critical part of chucking a sickie.
How hard do you go with laying the foundation? Like if you're not sick, but you've got a golf day tomorrow, how hard are you pretending to be sick while in the office?
Not super hard.
Yeah?
No, I think just lightly. Yeah. You just need to throw in a few words, throw in a few behaviors or attitudes that a sick person would have. Yeah. Just enough that people notice oh, you're right. They ask you, you're all right. You that's where you're at the threshold there. Yeah. People just checking, hey mate, you doing okay? You look like trash. Which is when you're not feeling sick, that hurts.
You want to make sure. Yeah.
But
so you're not going to the bathroom, slapping yourself around so that your eyes get all puffy. Coming back in.
You could, as long as you don't look too contagious as well, because I think you can swing the other way. It's like, oh, this guy's a liability.
Yeah, you don't want them to force you to have a sickie.
Yeah.
A sickie's got to be on your terms.
I don't stand by that. Either way, goodbye me.
Yeah. Well, step 3, once that foundation's been set, you can start to milk it a little bit. And step 3 for me is you take multiple sickies in a row. So if you were sick one, it's more believable if you take 2 days in a row because they're like, oh man, like again, he must have been sick. Like he's not going to come in unless he's, cherry ripe. But again, 3 days, most companies make you get a medical certificate. So just be cautious of that.
That's good too.
But again,
Here's a man that's seen a few companies.
even on that though, if you're sick 3 days in a row, go to the doctor and be like, look, I'm pretty much over it. I've taken 3 days. You're able just to give me the paperwork. And most of the time they'll be like, yeah, because they're like, well, he's fine now. So yeah, so they're still not they're not too religious on it. Get a good doc. Maybe in a small town like this, I'm not sure.
I've actually found, not in this town necessarily, perhaps in another town, that retrospective days off, I used to be able to get them from the doctor, but these days they say no, we can't give you a certificate. Sorry, not these days. These days could have been in relation to a different type of days before I was in Longreach, just to be clear. But they said we can't give you a certificate for a day that you didn't present to us or even call us and tell us you're sick. I don't know if that's necessarily across the board, but I've had that experience a couple of times now. I've got to say, it can really sort of deflate things because then you're spending your annual leave, which stings.
Don't want that.
Because you could have had a little bit of guilt and you may not have spent that day off to its full potential because, maybe you had to lay a bit low. But yeah, that's something I've found. So watch out for that as well. There you go. That's my little piece of industry practice.
Extra tip?
Yeah, it is.
Just a little off the cuff.
My step 4 though, my real tip is to chain. You mentioned they're taking multiple days off. That's fine. Oh, you're not scaring anyone this dark. Anyway, sorry, Paul just growled at someone that walked past and he just looked massively constipated. So you mentioned getting a number of days in a row. Great advice. Even better is if you can chain it into a weekend. Chain into a long weekend. Make it a proper long weekend.
Yeah.
Forget the 4-day week. Let's make it the 1-day week. Where you just happen to chain it sweet the whole way. I mean, there's been some opportunities this year where I've gotten, from genuine sickness, multiple days off in a row. And that's because you chain it together. And it's also, it can be tough, and this is something that other people have experienced, but when you've taken a day off on, Wednesday, Thursday, coming back on Friday, seems a bit what the point sometimes,
Yeah.
Again, for other people, not for me. Not my opinions or ideas or advice.
Yeah, well, I think step 5 is probably the manager side of me. Don't overuse it. If you have 3 sickies, let's just say 2 sickies, Thursday, Friday, don't pull a sickie on the Monday. That's way too obvious. You're clearly out.
You need to go to the hospital as well.
Yeah.
You've been sick for a long time, dude.
Sick nearly a week now. It's either that or you're clearly camping. You're clearly out of town. It's too much, and just stagger it throughout the year. You've got 70, 80 hours to play with.
Yep.
So that's nearly one a month. So just sort of work on that 5-6 week bracket. Because then if you have double, then that means obviously 12 weeks to the next one. So
the maths of
yeah. But the biggest thing is you don't get paid out on it. If you leave, you don't get paid a dime for your sick leave.
Exactly.
It's renewed every year, so you get another 70 odd hours.
Yeah.
So just
the people that are a part of unions fight tooth and nail to get you these rights.
Yeah, exactly. People were sick to get us this.
Exactly.
You got to respect.
Do it for them.
People. You're doing this for
Spend it
people.
to let them know that their sacrifice wasn't in vain.
Yeah, little Jimmy with cancer, he can't go to work at the IGA, but he's got his sick days that'll cover him for 2 days while he's having chemo. So
do the right thing.
Do it for Jimmy.
Chuck a sickie.
Yeah.
That's the right idea. Look, let's leave it on that note. That's the road guide to chucking a sickie. Something that I personally don't do or don't condone.
Actually, just on that, so me being in Longreach, I've been able to understand a little bit more about the pod in Longreach. And in most episodes, Pross will be like, do not condone this, I do not condone that, I wouldn't do this myself. But he acts like everybody knows that the podcast is a thing. No one knows. Not even his best mate.
Mate, this is a self-report. What you're saying is no one knows about the road guide.
In Longreach, you've done no marketing. You have not told a soul. I was like, can we not get a guest from Longreach?
And now that this episode's in the pod, I'm going to have to wait till season 3.
Yeah, you're going to have to wait.
That I can get a decent season of clean topics.
Yeah, that will be forgotten by that time.
Yeah. All right, so it's time for the much anticipated big call. Dos just mentioned that no one in Longreach knows what the what the podcast is, or about the road guide. Step on in, D. Step on in. One person does.
One person does. One person has to hear it most weeks.
One person would wish he didn't know about it. Welcome to the pod, my fiance, Danny O'Neill. Take a seat. We'll superimpose some applause there probably because it feels a bit more like a talk show now. Danny is my fiance, as I mentioned. We're sitting in front of our home, which we bought together. Oh, she's going to act too cool for me now. Everyone's going to think, oh, Dan's pretty hopeless, so he's punching. Danny, for the folks at home that don't know you too well, tell us about yourself. Who are you? What do you do?
Hello. Well, I live in Longreach and I'm a journalist, just like Dan. And that's pretty much all there is to know.
And that's all I needed to know. I actually don't know much more either, but you know, she's pretty cute. So
Gotta keep the mystery alive.
Yeah. So Danny, you are, as a big fan of the show, as someone that's watched countless episodes, helped me, master my own craft. You'd have a great idea of how the big call works. For people listening, let's spell it out for them. Essentially, the big call is where we get call someone up, or maybe call them over from the other room in the house.
Usually harass them.
Yeah. Dos calls them up at the very last second. Thank you to all the last minute big callers.
Yeah.
And they come on and they give us a situation where they had to make a big call. And Danny gave us a bit of a taste of this situation. We did have to screen her because, as you could tell from that previous moment there, there's a risk that her chat could be weak. But we're hoping that's going to pay off. And we're hoping that this is a great pod debut for someone that I might be able to call on at any given moment last minute.
Yeah.
So, Danny, tell us about a situation in your life when you had to make a big call.
Well, it isn't that dramatic, but it's pretty.
Not a good start.
It's a good talk. It gets you thinking. So, this was obviously before I moved to Longreach and met Dan, and we fell in love. I was on Hinge, and I was living in the city.
All right, that's fine.
That's enough.
And so me and my friends, we were all kind of on Hinge, casually dating. If you don't know much about that, just ask Dos.
Don't throw me under the bus.
He can give you an extensive how-to.
Episode 2, season 1, wasn't it?
Yeah. Or how about the road guide to casually dating? Ooh, look next week.
Anyway, so I'm in the city. I'm single. I'm on Hinge. I'm kind of sometimes dating. But my friend, for purposes of anonymity, we'll call her Amanda. My friend, who's a teacher, she has two, holiday periods of dating. She calls it Amanda Goes Dating. And she's got 2 weeks off as a teacher, and she is swiping, and she's trying to, play the slots, as it were, to find the one.
You've got 10 weeks of built up that she's got to get through in 2 weeks.
So anyway, I'm living in Brisbane, live near the river. It's a beautiful running spot. She comes over and goes for a long run around Brisbane. And she's running late for her Hinge coffee date that she's organised, which just so happens to be down the road from where I live. So she stops in at my house in her gym clothes, or in her running clothes, shoes, sweaty, all that jazz. And she's like, oh, hey, can I have a shower? Can I borrow an outfit? Can I borrow makeup? I've got this date just down the road. I thought I was going to get time to go to my house and get changed and go there. But, I've run too far. I'm too fit. I'm too successful. I can't do it.
It's a tough problem.
I'm built too different.
Must be a tough problem, that.
So I'm like, yeah, of course. And I kind of curate an outfit for her that I really like. I'm like, oh, you look amazing. You're going to kill it. Find the love of your life. She goes out for coffee. She comes back a few hours later, quite smitten. She's like, oh, he's very charming. But he said he really liked my outfit. And he's like, you can learn a lot about a person from their style. Oh. She's like wearing my shoes at this point. Oh. And she's like, oh, that's weird. And then she's kind of telling me more about this guy. And he's a very impressive man, but essentially it ends with her saying, I actually think you should date him. Okay, pausing the story, what would you do?
Oh, wait, who are we in this? We're you.
I'm me.
Yeah.
And Amanda's Amanda.
Yeah, but are we from your perspective?
You're me.
Yeah,
You're me.
yeah.
You're like, oh.
All right. So if I came before I met Danny, if I come home, I met someone that was really nice, but I was dressed in a Q football club singlet. I'm not really pulling off the singlet the same way that you are. And some girl had complimented me. I was like, hey mate, I think you could be on here actually. I think she'd be really good for you. What'd you do?
Well, was it just nice complimenting? Was it just like, oh, oh, that's a really nice outfit? Was it just a one-off comment sort of thing? Being polite?
Potentially.
Oh, okay.
You can give us that. I feel.
I wasn't on the initial date.
Yeah.
She came back, she said this, she's telling me kind of these factoids about this guy. We do have a lot of similar interests, but like I'm a mid-20s female. We all like to read books and buy plants, It's not that unique. But anyway, what would you do? As Danny, would you say, yeah, hook me up, set me up, I'd love to go on a date with him? Or would you say, no, red flag, keep your distance between who your friends date and who you date?
It could be too much of a weird look into my psychology, but I'd be curious to date someone that went on a date with you.
Yeah, me too. Because I trust you to be like,
Yeah,
this girl is better for you
Yeah.
than she is for me.
Definitely.
And I wouldn't, if I was like, this girl is good and she's good for me and good for you, I'm not going to shove it off if it's 50-50.
Yeah.
If I think there's 70% chance she's more into you than she'd be to me, the 30, then I'd shift it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. But vice versa.
Well, I wasn't like you at all, and I was like, hell no, I don't want to date someone that you've gone on a date with.
Sloppy seconds.
That's weird. He sounded great, and I also kind of liked the idea that they might end up together, whatever. So I'm like, no, that's fine. She goes home. Days pass, you know what I mean? But she has told me all these factoids about this guy, what book he's reading at the moment, kind of his favorite music, that kind of stuff, in proving to me that he was a good guy for me. She told me these factoids or whatever. And I'm like, I don't want a piece of it. And then so a few days passed and I found myself on Hinge.
Oh no.
And we happened to match.
Yeah.
Did you know?
I must have in a few weeks prior swiped yes to him.
Yeah.
I didn't swipe yes to him in the time period that elapsed between me seeing the profile after the date that he went on with Amanda.
We've kept saying Amanda, right?
We've actually, I think we've stuck well with
we're
it.
gonna need to edit this to make sure we didn't mention anyone's name but Amanda.
We don't really do much of a quality control. We
No.
sort of
Yeah,
just...
no one really listens.
Well, don't listen too closely. So anyway, we match a few days later. I must have swiped on him a little whiles back and totally forgotten about it. He starts a message.
He doesn't know who you are.
He has no idea that I'm the
Oh,
outfit
this poor
girl.
bloke
This
is
is
just...
a great conundrum.
He has no. I know exactly who this guy is.
And is he still hang out with Amanda?
No. Amanda and him never worked out. He
Thank
never
goodness.
messaged her again.
Is that what it
They
is?
only ever
He
went
never
on the.
messaged her again.
They only ever went on the one coffee date. I think he may have, from memory, sent her a little nice to meet you, but this is a friendship kind of
I only like
text.
your clothes. That's it.
Yeah. Anyway, so a few days after all of this, he's in my inbox. And I'm a bit drunk. And so I start a conversation with this guy
Yeah.
and intentionally bring up all the things that Grace has already told me about him.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, what are you up to? And I'm like, I'm reading this book. Insert the name of the book that I knew he was reading. Oh my God, that's so weird. And then he's like, we're talking. And then I just casually drop, oh, I'm listening to the new whatever music it was. And he's like, we must meet. We have to meet. He's like, this is going to sound weird, but I feel like we really have to meet. What would you do?
Well, I mean, Danny, what you've just done
Yeah.
is...
You really
there's
backed yourself into a corner.
Yeah, there's so many red flags there. You're basically just like... Oh, man, that's really
You've got a
interesting.
cheat sheet for this guy.
No,
You've
you know
been,
what?
you've
I
been
very
given
much
a
Wouldn't matter.
cheat sheet.
Honestly, though, it doesn't matter what I've said to this person, or it doesn't matter that I've said all the right things to them. Have they said the right things to me? Had he given you anything extra that you actually liked, or were you just going to go because you were stitching him up and it was funny?
No, there were definitely some charming qualities. He was because I was a bit off him because
Who is this guy?
He'd kind of
What's his
ditched.
name?
Do I know him?
He'd kind of ditched my friend, and even though my friend
Yeah,
didn't really
true.
want him anyway, no one likes to be rejected. And I was like, how dare you reject Amanda? She's actually like the most incredible human being I've met. So if you don't like
The guy
her,
sensed
you've
that.
got weird taste.
She was going to reject him at some stage. It was already that obvious from the start.
Right, because he was kind of onto it. He knew that maybe she wasn't fully into it because
Yeah.
she, in the background, was trying to handball him off to
Yeah.
her friend. He didn't know that, though.
Anyway, what are your decisions? One word, yes or no? Do you go on the date?
I'm probably going.
Yeah.
But I'd be asking you first.
Yeah.
Be like,
How
I've
deep-
dug
how
myself
deep is the
in
damage?
deep here.
Yeah,
I've dug
yeah.
myself in. I thought it'd be funny. I was drunk. It's not as funny now. And now I feel like a dick if I
Yeah.
don't go.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's already had one date that didn't work out. And now he thinks he's found the one.
He'll search you. He'll follow you to the end of the earth.
So Amanda was completely on board. She was actually I screenshotted her the moment this conversation started, and she was feeding me even more information for my cheat sheet. Anyway, so we agreed to meet.
This is such a like city social casual dating situation, like crazy.
We meet. I think we actually went to coffee at the same place.
No.
And I forgot I did this. I wore the same outfit. He didn't realize. He did not realize. The story goes on for a few more weeks. Do you want to hear the rest?
I don't want to hear the rest.
No.
What else are you going to tell us? Weeks? I mean, what are you going to give me here?
They're still dating.
So he didn't notice that we were wearing the same outfit at the same coffee spot he'd been
Did
2
he
weeks
suggest
before.
it? The coffee shop?
No, I suggested it.
Oh, well, that's not as bad for him anyway.
Anyway, so it turns out he was actually quite charming and quite easy to get along with, and, you know, a captivating person. We dated for a few weeks. Do you think I ever told him?
Yes, definitely. Probably thought it was funny.
Nah, I think Danny's a bit of a coward when it comes to that sort of stuff. I don't think she would have said it.
So the day I was going to tell him, because I'm like, okay, the day I was going to tell him that this got way, it had gotten too real, essentially. You know, he'd made me dinner. It was all very romantic. And I was like, wow, I'm in a predicament. We're like 4 or 5 dates in now. And so I was going to go and tell him, but he just kept bailing on all the opportunities to meet up. Totally not ghosting, but like
Flaking.
disappearing into the ether, kind of coming up with weird excuses. And I was like, okay, whatever. I didn't end up telling him. And then I moved to Longreach.
Whoa.
He doesn't know.
He doesn't
Still
know.
doesn't.
Well,
See, that
Imagine if he's listening. Architect, I know you're listening.
he'd be a rogue.
He'd be a rogue guy.
Yeah.
If he's an architect, he's a loser and needs advice. So.
Shout out to the architect.
Shout out to the rogue
Did I do a good job?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that was
Thanks for
quality
sharing.
story.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Don't judge me. I'm a good fiance to Dan, I promise.
Oh, yeah.
I treat him well.
We all had prior lives.
I
and
think
you've been hearing
lesson-
out plenty of mine through these pods when you didn't know me and you obsessively watched every video on my YouTube channel.
Just another evidence of the cheat sheet. I need a cheat sheet to date successfully.
All right, Danielle O'Neill, thank you so much for coming on the program. Flash him the ring as you walk past.
To you.
No, to the camera.
The camera.
Okay. Forgot these things are filmed.
There you go, Bushka. Thanks, Danny.
Thanks, Danny.
Well, there you go.
Hmm.
Thankfully, no traumatic moments.
I think lesson to be learnt, trust your best friend from the get-go. Because even though it didn't work out in the end, maybe this guy might have a sixth sense.
Yeah.
Because that's why he didn't sense it with Amanda.
Yeah.
He knew that she wasn't fully invested.
Yeah.
And then he didn't sense it with
That was a
Danny.
good play right there.
Yeah, because he knew something was off, that she had it. She had
was
a
being
cheat sheet.
herself.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
was saying what he wanted to hear and not objectifying.
He might have thought potentially, is this person catfishing me?
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
probably too real. I could have
Yeah.
freaked you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even to suggest the same coffee shop. Nah. Anyway, there you go. There's a rare insight into the lady side of casual dating.
Yeah.
If you're a lady and you date casually, come on the pod. In fact, if you're a guy, you date
Yeah,
casually.
and if you're just anyone that has a big call and you want to hear about, you want to hear a bit of advice, what other people would have done in that situation, you hit us up. You know, the Road Guide Instagram, easy handle to follow.
Yep.
And come on board. But we do have a Serious 60 today.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. It started off really serious, the Serious 60, and it's good that it's come back because it's a really important segment where
Yeah.
we, get serious, talk about a really topical, sometimes traumatic or problematic, difficult topic. And you've got one for us today.
Yeah, I've got one today, and sort of in line with my trip, very much based around plane etiquette. Like there's so many things that just ruin your day.
Breaks your heart.
You
hate to see it.
Yeah, I when I flew up to Townsville, I had a nice couple next to me, an older couple. We were talking, and at the start of the flight, which is quite rare, so it's always good to have a little banter early on. And
No, it isn't.
it isn't.
No, I think I get scared if we talk too early because it means that we could end up talking the entire way.
That is a risk.
Yeah. You need to.
I
I like it
don't mind
when
a little-
I like it when you know the other person has set their boundary as well, but when you know they haven't, you just know this escape is going to be ruined for me. Another serious thing about plane etiquette. Know when to chew someone's ear off.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, the talking was because they had to get past me. And I just sat down, so it was like flowed on from there.
Fair cop.
It was a natural conversation. But the issue was like we're in the middle of the plane. We're in seat 23, and I think it's 44 seats or something. And it lands. They like go to stand up. Everyone's sort of standing up, and I'm like, guys, it literally takes 10 minutes. To get the doors locked.
Is this your first time flying?
Yeah.
It's never works like you think it's about to work.
We're not going to get off any faster.
No.
Yeah, and it was like to the extent where they would just like look down the row, not at me, but like
it's
in
like,
that
it's
direction.
like you look where I'm looking where I'm trying to go. I want to go there, but I can't. There's something in my way. Are you maybe noticing that I'm trying to get there and something's in my way?
Yeah. And I'm just sitting there reading my book. Yeah. I'm like, I know this is going to take another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then when people start shuffling finally, and then just bang up one bag, door's gone.
Easy.
I'm like, you don't get off any faster by me standing up.
No.
It's not that comfortable standing up when you're 6'4", you're still hunched over.
No shot.
And yeah, that bugs me. And then you get off the plane. And then all of a sudden, look, would you believe everybody's there at the baggage collection at the same time?
I'll do
just on that last point
real quick before we go to the baggage collection. So I see where you're going with the story.
Yeah.
This is something you got to find out when you fly back from Longreach. You're going to fly in from Longreach, right? And people are going to play that same game on you. They're going to try and you land in Brisbane in your Qantas Link in your little Saab, whatever bloody thing, little plane with propellers and stuff. You're going to land, and people are going to be rushing you. All right, and people are going to be trying to rush off the thing. Guess what? Straight onto a bus, and you wait on that bus for everyone to get off the plane onto the bus every single time. Locals. You can see their hats. They've got a Cobras that are worn in. They've done this a few times. This isn't their first rodeo.
Yeah.
They are hustling, pushing. I need to get off the plane. My mum had the same thing. And this bloke was like, I need to get off the plane. Get out of my way. And then next thing you're standing up next to them on a bus like an absolute loser. Anyway, then you go to the baggage carousel. And,
the baggage carousel. So I was with Qantas, so they let you have something underneath. I don't normally travel with something underneath.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, I'll do it this time. And you get there and everyone is just huddled up right next to it. It's like, why?
No.
It's when your stuff comes out, you can walk forward and grab it.
Yeah.
But if you're right there, you're in everyone's way.
Yeah.
Firstly.
I can't see my bag coming.
Yeah, I can't see through the crowd. Well, I'm lucky I'm tall as hell, so
we can see it quite easily.
But if I want to get my bag, I've got to literally push past you. I have to push you away.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not letting it go past again. And that's a big one. Like, just relax, people. Yeah. Relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Mine was a little bit embarrassing when my bag did come because, like I said, I don't travel often with undercarriage. So my bag was like this little backpack, and it's next to all these massive suitcases. And because I went to the area where no one was, which is the end of the luggage train, comes out and goes past everyone, and I just reached out.
And everyone's just looking like, well, then that's a purse almost. That's like smaller than carry-on.
Did they really check that in? Yeah. So that's my sort of Series 60.
Thanks for having the courage. To talk about it.
It's been building up inside me.
Yeah.
And I just really needed to say, get it out in the open, let the world know.
There you go. There's your message for today, and it's quite a hopefully there's an uplifting message in there about plane etiquette for you to take away as we wrap up this episode 6, season 2.
Yeah.
Rolling along. 21 episodes
20.
now. Well, 20 was the last
21,
one, I think.
21, yeah.
21. We've got a few things to be proud of when it comes to the pod.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about that probably next week. But doing all right, kicking along, and we really thank you for being a part of it. And you can be a part of it, as you said, on Instagram, Rogue Guide, on YouTube, Daniel Prosser, but I've got the whole playlist.
Is that a double plug for yourself this episode?
Different channel.
That's worse.
The other one was at Molten House DIY on Instagram. But yeah, go and find us there. Leave your comments. Love hearing from you. Shout outs to Christian, who was excluded from the last episode and then ended up on one of our social medias. Not in a super flattering way. Go and check out the Road Guide story for that. Although that might be gone by our upload rates.
It's real.
It's a real.
You can see it, yeah.
Great, you left it there permanently.
That's our nudie runners there for a long time.
Anyway, signing off here from beautiful sunny Longreach. Pros and Dos, Rogers.
We're here to rogue.
Yeah.
What else was I gonna say?
I was trying to think of a setup for it, but anyway, that's a wrap.